In which of the following are operational amplifiers op-amps used? A. Oscillators. B. Filters. C. Instrumentation circuits. D. All of the above. The correct answer is all of the above. A voltage follower amplifier comes to you for service. You find the voltage gain to be 5.5 and the input impedance 22K. The probable fault in this amplifier, if any, is A. The gain is too low for this type of amplifier. B. The input impedance is too high for this amplifier. C. Nothing is wrong. The trouble must be somewhere else. D. None of these. The correct answer is none of these. For an op-amp having a slew rate SR5 VMS, what is the maximum closed-loop voltage gain that can be used when the input signal varies by 0.2 V in 10 ms? A. 150. B. 200. C. 250. D. 300. The correct answer is 250. An op-amp has an open-loop gain of 100,000 and a cutoff frequency of 40 Hz. Find the open-loop gain at a frequency of 30 Hz. A. 800. B. 8,000. C. 80,000. D. 100,000. The correct answer is 100,000. What is the level of the voltage between the input terminals of an op-amp? A. Virtually zero. B. 5 V. C. 18 V. D. 22 V. The correct answer is virtually zero. An op-amp has an open-loop gain of 75,000 and a cutoff frequency of 100 Hz. At 1 kHz the open-loop gain is down by A. 10 dB. B. 6 dB. C. 20 dB. D. 3 dB. The correct answer is 20 dB. What is the difference output voltage of any signals applied to the input terminals? A. The differential gain times the difference input voltage. B. The common mode gain times the common input voltage. C. The sum of the differential gain times the difference input voltage and the common mode gain times the common input voltage. D. The difference of the differential gain times the difference input voltage and the common mode gain times the common input voltage. The correct answer is the sum of the differential gain times the difference input voltage and the common mode gain times the common input voltage. A 3-stage op-amp can have a maximum phase lag of A. 180. B. 90. C. 270. D. None of the above. The correct answer is 270. The summing amplifier contains an inverting amplifier. A. True. B. False. C. D. The correct answer is true. What is the open-loop gain of an op-amp at the gain bandwidth product of the op-amp? A. 200,000. B. 50,000. C. 200. D. 1. The correct answer is 1. Calculate the overall voltage gain of the circuit if R1 100 and Rf 1K. A. 1. B. 10. C. 11. D. 9. The correct answer is 11. The amplifier configuration has the highest input impedance and the lowest output impedance of the three basic op-amp configurations. A. Non-inverting. B. Inverting. C. Voltage follower. D. The correct answer is voltage follower. This circuit is referred to as an A. Inverting amplifier. B. Non-inverting amplifier. C. Differentiator. D. Integrator. The correct answer is integrator. An RC network has R47K and C0.22F. What is the cutoff frequency? A. 154 Hz. B 1540 Hz, C 1.54 Hz, D 15.4 Hz. The correct answer is 15.4 Hz. A certain op-amp has an open-loop voltage gain of 150000. What is this gain expressed in dB? A 51.7 dB, B 103.5 dB, C 150,000 dB, D 5.18 dB. The correct answer is 103.5 dB. An IC unit made using both and transistors is called a circuit. A bipolar MOSFET by FET, B bipolar MOSFET by MOS, C TTL MOSFET till FET, D. The correct answer is bipolar MOSFET by MOS. What is the slew rate of an op-amp if the output voltages change from 2V to 3V in 0.2 ms? A 5V ms, B 3V ms, C 2V ms, D 1V ms. The correct answer is 5V ms. Calculate the output voltage if R1, R2, R3 100, RF 1K and V1, V2, V3 50 mV. A 1.5V, B 1.5V, C 0.5V, D 0.5V. The correct answer is 1.5V. If RF R1 the voltage gain is A1, B1, C10, D very small. The correct answer is 1. The maximum rate of change of the output voltage in response to a step input voltage is the of an op-amp. A time constant, B maximum frequency, C slew rate, D static discharge. The correct answer is slew rate. At what input voltage level does the output voltage level become numerically equal to the value of the differential gain of the amplifier? A Vi1 Vi2 0.25V, B Vi1 Vi2 0.50V, C Vi1 Vi2 0.75V, D Vi1 Vi2 1.00V. The correct answer is Vi1 Vi2 0.50V. A practical op-amp has very input impedance, very output impedance, very open loop voltage gain and a bandwidth. A high low high wide, B high high low narrow, C low high high wide, D low 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 wide. The correct answer is high low high wide. This circuit is referred to as an A inverting amplifier, B non-inverting amplifier, C unity follower, D integrator. The correct answer is inverting amplifier. This circuit is an example of A single-ended input, B double-ended differential input, C double-ended output, D common mode operation. The correct answer is double-ended output. What is the level of the roll-off in most op-amps? A 6 dB decade, B 20 dB octave, C 6 dB decade or 20 dB octave, D 20 dB decade or 6 dB octave. The correct answer is 20 dB decade or 6 dB octave. Calculate the output impedance of an inverting op-amp using the 741 op-amp RO75 AOL 200 VMV if R1 100 and RF 1K. A 0.011, B 0.00375, C 0.0375, D 0.375. The correct answer is 0.00375. The input offset voltage drift is a parameter directly related to VOS and AID, B power dissipation, C temperature, D phase shift. The correct answer is temperature. What is the difference voltage if the inputs are an ideal opposite signal? A. The differential gain times twice the input signal. B. The differential gain times the input signal. C. The common mode gain times twice the input signal. D. The common mode gain times the input signal. The correct answer is the differential gain times twice the input signal. Which of the following circuit conditions affects the output offset voltage of an op-amp? A. An input offset voltage VIO. B. An input offset current IIO. C. Both an input offset voltage VIO and an input offset current IIO. D. None of the above. The correct answer is both an input offset voltage VIO and an input offset current IIO. This circuit is an example of A single-ended input, B double-ended differential input, C double-ended output, D common mode operation. The correct answer is double-ended differential input. An amplifier configuration has a higher input impedance and a lower output impedance than the op-amp itself. A. Non-inverting. B. Inverting. C. Voltage follower. D. The correct answer is non-inverting. In which of the following operations is the resulting output signal of the differential amplifier near zero? A. Single-ended. B. Double-ended. C. Common mode. D. None of the above. The correct answer is common mode. What is the voltage gain of the unity follower? A. 0. B. 1. C. 1. D. Infinity. The correct answer is 1. Negative feedback added to an op-amp, the bandwidth and the gain. A. Increases. B. Increases decreases. C. Decreases. D. Decreases. The correct answer is increases. It takes an op-amp 22S to change its output from 15V to 15V. Determine the slew rate. A. 1.36 Vs. B. 0.68 Vs. C. 0.68 Vs. D. Cannot determine. The correct answer is 1.36 Vs. An RC network has R500K and C10PF. Find the value of Fc. A. 31,831 Hz. B. 31.831 kHz. C. 0.031831 MHz. D. All of the above. The correct answer is all of the above. What is the scale multiplier factor of a basic integrator? A. RC. B. CR. C. RC. D. 1 RC. The correct answer is 1 RC. Calculate the overall voltage gain of the circuit if R1 100 and RF 1K. A. 1. B. 10. C. 11. D. 9. The correct answer is 10. Which of the following circuits is referred to as a BIMOS circuit? A. Bipolar and FET. B. Bipolar and MOSFET. C. Opposite type MOSFETs. D. None of the above. The correct answer is bipolar and MOSFET. In the differential amplifier circuit, which of the following terminals are connected together? A. Bases. B. Collectors. C. One base to another collector. D. Emitters. The correct answer is emitters. What is the cutoff frequency of an op-amp if the unity gain frequency is 1.5 MHz and the open loop gain is 100,000? A. 5 Hz. B. 10 Hz. C. 15 Hz. D. 20 Hz. The correct answer is 15 Hz. D is the voltage gain of an op-amp with external feedback. A. All. B. A CL. C. A V. D. The correct answer is a CL. An amplifier configuration has an input impedance approximately equal to the input resistor Ri and an output impedance approximately equal to the output impedance of the op-amp itself. A. Non-inverting. B. Inverting. C. Voltage follower. D. The correct answer is inverting. This circuit is an example of A single-ended input, B double-ended differential input, C double-ended output, D common mode operation. The correct answer is common mode operation. What is the difference voltage if the inputs are an ideal in-phase signal? A. The differential gain times twice the input signal. B. The differential gain times the input signal. C. The common mode gain times twice the input signal. D. The common mode gain times the input signal. The correct answer is the common mode gain times the input signal. Calculate the input voltage if R1 100, RF 1K and Vout 550 mV. A. 50 mV. B. 5 mV. C. 550 mV. D. 50 mV. The correct answer is 50 mV. The mid-range open-loop gain of an op-amp is 135 dB. With negative feedback this gain is reduced to 72 dB. The closed-loop gain is A. 135 dB. B. 72 dB. C. 207 dB. D. 63 dB. The correct answer is 72 dB. This circuit is referred to as an A. Inverting amplifier, B. Non-inverting amplifier, C. Differentiator, D. Integrator. The correct answer is differentiator. This circuit is an example of A single-ended input, B. double-ended differential input, C. double-ended output, D. common mode operation. The correct answer is single-ended input. What is the level of the current through the amplifier inputs to ground in an op-amp? A. Virtually 0. B. 1.7 mA. C. 2.8 mA. D. 3.3 mA. The correct answer is virtually 0. Open-loop voltage gain of an op-amp can range up to A. 10,000, B. 50,000, C. 100,000, D. 200,000. The correct answer is 200,000. At what input voltage level does the output voltage level become numerically equal to the value of the common mode gain of the amplifier? A. Vi1 Vi2 0.25 V. B. Vi1 Vi2 0.50 V. C. Vi1 Vi2 0.75 V. D. Vi1 Vi2 1.00 V. The correct answer is Vi1 Vi2 0.50 V. Which of the following are the result of gain reduction by a feedback? A. The amplifier voltage gain is a more stable and precise value. B. The input impedance of the circuit is increased over that of the op-amp alone. C. The output impedance is reduced over that of the op-amp alone. D. All of the above. The correct answer is all of the above. An ideal operational amplifier has A. Infinite output impedance, B. Zero input impedance, C. Infinite bandwidth, D. All of the above. The correct answer is infinite bandwidth. Another name for a unity gain amplifier is A. Difference amplifier, B. Comparator, C. Single-ended, D. Voltage follower. The correct answer is voltage follower. The open-loop voltage gain A all of an op-amp is the A. External voltage gain the device is capable of, B. Internal voltage gain the device is capable of, C. Most controlled parameter, D. Same as a CL. The correct answer is internal voltage gain the device is capable of. What is the output waveform? A sine wave, B square wave, C sawtooth wave, D triangle wave. The correct answer is triangle wave. A series dissipative regulator is an example of A linear regulator, B switching regulator, C shunt regulator, D DC to DC converter. The correct answer is linear regulator. What is this circuit? A low-pass filter, B a high-pass filter, C a band-pass filter, D a band-stop filter. The correct answer is a band-stop filter. A non-inverting closed-loop op-amp circuit generally has a gain factor A less than 1, B greater than 1, C of 0, D equal to 1. The correct answer is greater than 1. In order for an output to swing above and below a zero reference, the op-amp circuit requires A resistive feedback network, B zero offset, C a wide bandwidth, D a negative and positive supply. The correct answer is a negative and positive supply. Op-amps used as high and low pass filter circuits employ which configuration? A non-inverting, B comparator, C open loop, D inverting. The correct answer is inverting. If ground is applied to the terminal of an inverting op-amp, the terminal will A not need an input resistor, B be virtual ground, C have high reverse current, D not invert the signal. The correct answer is B virtual ground. An astable multivibrator is also known as A one-shot multivibrator, B free-running multivibrator, C bistable multivibrator, D monostable multivibrator. The correct answer is free-running multivibrator. With negative feedback, the returning signal A aids the input signal, B is proportional to output current, C opposes the input signal, D is proportional to differential voltage gain. The correct answer is opposes the input signal. What starts a free-running multivibrator? A trigger, B an input signal, C an external circuit, D nothing. The correct answer is nothing. A portion of the output that provides circuit stabilization is considered to be A negative feedback, B distortion, C open loop, D positive feedback. The correct answer is negative feedback. How many leads does the 2-5 metal can package of an operational amplifier have? A 8, 10 or 12, B 6, 8 or 10, C 8 or 14, D 8 or 16. The correct answer is 8, 10 or 12. If a non-inverting amplifier has an Rin of 1000 ohms and an RFB of 2.5 kilohms, what is the Rin voltage when 1.42 mV is applied to the correct input? A 3.5 mV, B ground, C 1.42 mV, D 0.56 mV. The correct answer is 1.42 mV. Input impedance Z in I of an inverting amplifier is approximately equal to ARI, BRFRI, C, DRFRI. The correct answer is RI. The closed-loop voltage gain of an inverting amplifier equals A the ratio of the input resistance to the feedback resistance, B the open-loop voltage gain, C the feedback resistance divided by the input resistance, D the input resistance. The correct answer is the feedback resistance divided by the input resistance. What is the cutoff frequency of this low-pass filter? A 4.8 kHz, B 3.8 kHz, C 2.8 kHz, D. 1.8 kHz. The correct answer is 1.8 kHz. All of the following are basic op-amp input modes of operation except A. Inverting mode, B. Common mode, C. Double-ended, D. Single-ended. The correct answer is inverting mode. What is the output voltage? A. 15V, B. 5V, C. 5V, D. 15V. The correct answer is 5V. A circuit whose output is proportional to the difference between the input signals is considered to be which type of amplifier? A. Common mode, B. Darlington, C. Differential, D. Operational. The correct answer is differential. With negative feedback, the returning signal A is proportional to the output current, B is proportional to the differential voltage gain, C opposes the input signal, D aids the input signal. The correct answer is opposes the input signal. What is the output waveform? A. Sine wave, B. Square wave, C. 15V, D. 15V. The correct answer is sine wave. The voltage follower has A closed loop voltage gain of unity, B. Small open loop voltage gain, C. Closed loop bandwidth of 0, D. Large closed loop output impedance. The correct answer is closed loop voltage gain of unity. What is the output waveform of the circuit? A. Sine wave, B. Square wave, C. Sawtooth wave, D. Triangle wave. The correct answer is square wave. The ratio between differential gain and common mode gain is called A. Amplitude, B. Differential mode rejection, C. Common mode rejection, D. Phase. The correct answer is common mode rejection. What is the frequency of this 555 astable multivibrator? A. 278 Hz, B. 178 Hz, C. 78 Hz, D. 8 Hz. The correct answer is 178 Hz. If the gain of a closed-loop inverting amplifier is 3.9 with an input resistor value of 1.6 kilohms, what value of feedback resistor is necessary? A. 6240 ohms, B. 2.4 kilohms, C. 410 ohms, D. 0.62 kilohms. The correct answer is 6240 ohms. In an open-loop op-amp circuit, whenever the inverting input is negative relative to the non-inverting input, the output will A. Swing negative, B. Close the loop, C. Be balanced, D. Swing positive. The correct answer is swing positive. With a differential gain of 50,000 and a common mode gain of 2, what is the common mode rejection ratio? A. 87.9 dB, B. 43.9 dB, C. 43.9 dB, D. 87.9 dB. The correct answer is 87.9 dB. If the input to a comparator is a sine wave, the output is A. Ramp voltage, B. Sine wave, C. Rectangular wave, D. Sawtooth wave. The correct answer is rectangular wave. What three subcircuits does a phase-locked loop PLL consist of? A. Phase comparator and VCO, B. Phase comparator bandpass filter and VCO, C. Phase comparator bandpass filter and demodulator, D. Phase comparator low-pass filter and VCO. The correct answer is phase comparator low-pass filter and VCO. The major difference between ground and virtual ground is that virtual ground is only A. Voltage reference, B. Current reference, C. Power reference, D. Difference reference. The correct answer is voltage reference. If an op-amp has one input grounded and the other input has a signal feed to it, then it is operating as what? A. Common mode. B. Single-ended. C. Double-ended. D. Non-inverting mode. The correct answer is single-ended. If the feedback input resistor ratio of a feedback amplifier is 4.6 with 1.7 V applied to the non-inverting input, what is the output voltage value? A. 7.82 V. B. Saturation. C. Cutoff. D. 9.52 V. The correct answer is 9.52 V. The Schmitt trigger is a two-state device that is used for A. Pulse shaping. B. Peak detection. C. Input noise rejection. D. Filtering. The correct answer is pulse shaping. When a capacitor is used in place of a resistor in an op-amp network, its placement determines A. Open or closed loop gain. B. Integration or differentiation. C. Saturation or cutoff. D. Addition or subtraction. The correct answer is integration or differentiation. The common mode voltage gain is A. Smaller than differential voltage gain. B. Equal to voltage gain. C. Greater than differential voltage gain. D. None of the above. The correct answer is smaller than differential voltage gain. How many logic states does an SR flip-flop have? A2, B3, C4, D5. The correct answer is 4. An output that is proportional to the addition of two or more inputs is from which type of amplifier? A. Differentiator. B. Difference. C. Summing. D. Analog subtractor. The correct answer is summing. In a PLL, to obtain lock, the signal frequency must A. Come within the lock range. B. Be less than the capture frequency. C. Come within the capture range. D. Be greater than the capture frequency. The correct answer is come within the capture range. An ideal amplifier should have A. High input current. B. Zero offset. C. High output impedance. D. Moderate gain. The correct answer is zero offset. A differential amplifier has a common mode gain of 0.2 and a common mode rejection ratio of 3250. What would the output voltage be if the single-ended input voltage was 7 mvrms? A. 1.4 mvrms. B. 650 mvrms. C. 4.55 vrms. D. 0.455 vrms. The correct answer is 4.55 vrms. The magnitude of closed-loop voltage gain ACL of an inverting amplifier equals A. The ratio of the input resistance to the feedback resistance. B. The open-loop voltage gain A. All. C. The feedback resistance divided by the input resistance. D. The input resistance. The correct answer is the feedback resistance divided by the input resistance. What is the difference between common mode and differential mode input signals? A. Phase relationship. B. Voltage. C. Current. D. Apparent power. The correct answer is phase relationship. A circuit that uses an amplifier with passive filter elements is called an A. Relaxation oscillator. B. Signal generator. C. Differential amplifier. D. Active filter. The correct answer is active filter. The input offset current equals the A. Average of two base currents. B. Collector current divided by the current gain. C. Difference between two base emitter voltages. D. Difference between two base currents. The correct answer is difference between two base currents.